Get in here.
That's the right kind right there.
Boom.
Yes!
Woo!
That's what we needed right there.
That's a big one.
I mean, that fish is 20 inches long, but that's a good call.
Yeah, you kind of got him coming towards me in all different directions.
God, look how fat they are. You start catching enough of them, you have to put the camera down and get a couple because it's just too much fun, man.
We're looking out over Lewis Smtih Lake and stop number 5 for the 2018 FLW Tour. Welcome everyone, I'm Travis Moran in the studio along with Rob Newell. It's day 3 and only 30 anglers are left trying to make those top 10 spots that are gonna move on to tomorrow, the 4th and final day. Rob, so many different techniques, so many different locations in this lake playing out. Tell me a little bit more about that.
Yeah, Smith Lake it doesn't look like much of a lake, but it's very sprawling. It's got a lot of arms and fingers to it. Only 21,000 acres, but it's like 620 miles of shoreline, so a lot of room to work here. It's April, it's spring, we've had big rains, the water's up. It's come up about 4 feet during practice and then got pulled down about a foot before the tournament. So water levels doing crazy things. Got water temperatures right there in about the 65 to 70 degree range. The big news here is the spawn has actually started to wind down and we're starting to see shad spawn come into the picture, and that's where you'll find our leader, David Williams.
Well, it's a good feeling to be leading going into day 3. I know I still got a lot of work to do out here today, so I'm gonna go catch as many as I can and just stick with my game plan and power fish and cover as much water as I possibly can, and hopefully they show up for me.
Speaking of David Williams, the big story right now, in a lake known for its Alabama spotted bass, he's targeting largemouth. Now he is catching some spotted bass in there, but his pattern is for those largies.
Yeah, so many times here, Travis, we've seen the largemouth come in like the first day or two and then fade away. And then those spotted bass guys, the history of this lake, you look at Brent Ayler, you look at Michael Bennett, they brought spotted bass all 4 days, and in the end, they won the tournament. But David Williams does not look like he's gonna give this thing up. His largemouth keep biting. Cody keeps bringing those spotted bass limits, and they're consistent, but Williams' largemouth keep cooperating.
I feel like you need some big largemouth to win the tournament, but I just don't know where to go catch them. So I'm going after the spots. It makes it a little bit tougher because the largemouth, of course, can be bigger, but there's fewer largemouth in this lake. But to right now, we're gonna go after spotted bass, and I know there's some big ones out there, and hopefully get a few of them.
With how well David Williams is doing catching these largemouth, it's really got these other fishermen having to think about, are they gonna have to go to that mixed bag? Are they gonna have to open up what their game plan is? And they're definitely thinking about it as they get ready down on the docks.
Ready to go get them, man. Saturdays are fun days.
Well, here we go.
Figured I'd start close and try to get 1 or 2 early, you know, just a big community dock. Right at the mouth of takeoff, high bluebird skies. We're gonna have not much wind, and I'm gonna target these shady docks and try to catch a few of these elusive critters. Just kind of junking it up every day. Catching a ton of fish. This lake is chock full of bass. You know, the only downside is our timing. It's more post-spawn than it is pre-spawn. Definitely in the majority of the lakes already spawned, so the fish just aren't as pretty as they normally should be, but still big, nice, beautiful spotted bass, and they're as much fun to catch as anything out there.
Matt Airy, he started the day at number 3, and there he is, targeting those spotted bass. Out of Shelby, North Carolina, 15-9 day 1, 14-9 day 2.
That's a good one, I think.
And then he's been talking about getting that early limit of spots and then slowing down and going for those largemouth.
Yeah. Yeah.
Nice one right there.
That's a start. That's a start. That's a 2.5, good 2.5.
And that's a great bonus spotted bass, because that's not just a limit, that's a quality fish right there.
Number 1.
Let's take a look at our top 30 leaderboard. Rob, tell me some names that jump out on you here.
We've got David Williams there, obviously in the lead. Jordan Osborne starting to close in a little bit. You know, we're going to talk about Cody Meyer and Jimmy Reese from the West Coast. There's a reason both those guys are in there. AKA spotted bass, Alabama spotted bass. I saw Todd Otten in there. He's a shallow water guy. Russell Cecil out of Texas in the top 30. Good to see him in there. Our reigning cup angler Justin Atkins making another top 30 cut. I see Floridian JT Kinney snuck in there as well.
And here we are, our current leader right now unofficially, David Williams out of North Carolina. The big conversation before the tournament was spotted bass versus largemouth. Were guys gonna be able to rely just on largemouth and lead this tournament? And so far, David Williams has answered, yes, you can.
Williams has really kind of tapped into the early shad spawn early in the morning. That's with the largemouth. That's a largemouth pattern that he's working here. David has been the first one to get to this shad spawn. He's been the first one to kind of sniff it out. Those guys from the Carolinas just have this unique ability to know when that's going on. And he's found the shad spawn and it's working for him.
The bait fish are starting to spawn, so they come up at night. And so a lot of the fish relocate at night chasing those bait fish. And they'll be there first thing in the morning chasing those bait fish until they, until they just get in that period where they just kind of hang out. It's kind of a limited window. You don't have a long time to do it.
That's kind of a need right there.
Now, one of the risks you run when going after that shad spawn is as quick and as great as it can be, it can also leave real fast as well. And as an early morning deal, we're gonna find out real quick whether his pattern is gonna continue on to day 3. And our angler that started the day in 5th place, Jordan Osborne out of Longview, Texas, making that long run up Ryan Creek.
Yeah, he's got this one magical spot, and we're not really sure what makes it magical. He's not really sure. He just said the fish are feeding there, they're spawning there, they're in all stages of the spawn. It's a really good spot first thing in the morning.
Just a little shaky head, rigging it up, kind of like you would typically see a Ned rig. The shaky head keeps it weedless through that brush. And as you can see, I got all the power turned off in my boat. I know what's going on here. I'm not going anywhere for a while. This spot here, it starts off slow and gets better as the day goes on and just doesn't quit. I mean, it's unreal. Looks like a largemouth there.
My main area is in the back of a creek. It's more of one of the flatter creeks in the back, where most of these make a good sharp V and they're pretty steep all the way to the back. This one has a nice steady rise to it. And out there in that 7 to 10 foot of water, there's a submerged bushes with the lake being high.
Yes.
And those fish are they're staging right there on the edge, and they're coming up and they're feeding and they're spawning. They're doing it all right there in one spot. I've actually got some largemouth that have started to mix in with them. I think they're coming out of the bushes as the lake falls. So it kind of got them coming towards me in all different directions.
Already got 3 fish in the boat for a little over 8 pounds. We've been out here for 20 minutes maybe. I think I'm gonna be fishing tomorrow.
Our 30 anglers are trying to make the cut, our top 10 that are gonna move on to day 4 to see who wins up to $125,000. We'll be right back from Smith Lake.
The FLW Tour is brought to you by TH Marine, from transom to trolling motor. Costa Del Mar, see what's out there. Yeti, built for the wild. General Tire, anywhere is possible. Power Pole, swift, silent, secure. And by BRP Evinrude. Learn more at evinrude.com.
That little guy, not what we're after.
Oh, come on. Better than I thought. That is actually almost looks pre-spawn. Fish not beat up at all, hardly.
It's the FLW Tour on Lewis Smtih Lake, presented by TH Marine. and David Williams is working the front of docks for his bites, but he's fishing against 29 other anglers who are going to make him earn his lead.
Number 5. Hopefully we can get rid of him here in just a little bit. Got a limit by 7:15. Pretty good.
I'm fishing a lot of docks and then fishing a lot of the flooded bushes. But when you're fishing those docks, I mean, I'm trying to put it in places that are, you know, maybe 3 or 4 inches off the water, you know. And that's where a lot of them lay, back in those shady places and stuff like that. And the same with the bushes. The bushes may have one little hole you can get into. You have to be able to put it in that hole or he may not come out to get it.
Interesting looking at David Williams there, using that white swim jig. David Williams is from the Carolinas. If you've heard the names of like Andy Montgomery and Brian Thrift, that's,
Get in here!
Those guys are like the masters of the shad spawn from the Carolinas.
Son.
The thing about David Williams' shad spawn situation, that thing can be really fickle. One day there's shad spawning all over the place, and the next day it goes absolutely dead.
That's the right kind right there. Boom.
Anytime you have this many different techniques going throughout the entire lake, you got to figure out some kind of game plan. And Rob, you've got the General Tire roadmap to victory for us.
Last time we're at Cumberland, I talked about dedicating yourself to a particular species. This time around, I'm going to say mixed species will be the key. A mix of spotted bass and largemouth bass. I don't think going straight either one way or the other is going to be the deal. You want to get those spotted bass to get your base set, your foundation set, and then bump up your bag with some largemouth. Next thing is the forage spawn. I have forage spawn, not just a shad spawn, because it's important in the springtime after the bass have all spawned out, then the bait fish start spawning, and the order that goes in is first the shad spawn and then comes to the brim. Right now we're in the shad spawn phase. But Williams has talked about if the shad spawn starts to get thin on me in the afternoons, I'm gonna go look down some banks for some brim coming to the bank starting to spawn. So it's a forage spawn. That's what these guys gotta focus on. And finally, stay put. This is a narrow, windy lake. You can really eat up time trying to run around, run to a bunch of, out of one arm into another arm. Stay put. Get in one creek, get in the branch you feel the most comfortable with, and do your fishing there.
Some good advice there, Rob. Let's see who's listening and is staying put.
These fish, when they get post-spawn like this, they really start moving out and suspending, you know, and it's not a matter of depth, how deep the water is on the bottom, it's where they're at suspending. And these bridges really offer a lot of shade for these fish. And this whole week, that's been key, you know, fishing some of these bridges or deep off these points, and these fish are gonna be out suspended, and that's what we're after, some good ones.
Cody Meyer, all the way from Northern California, feared by all spotted bass. Rob, and Smith Lake is a perfect example of that so far.
Yeah, I'm not gonna lie, Cody Meyer's my pick in this thing going into it just because he's such a spotted bass expert. The FLW Tour doesn't ever go to California, but this is like as close as Cody will ever get to fishing his home lake.
So this is a real similar lake to a western lake, a western reservoir lake. In fact, these spotted bass from Smith Lake are the exact spotted bass in California. They came from Smith Lake in the 70s. They were put in California, they reproduced, and the rest is history. So I'm real familiar with these spotted bass. It fishes really similar to a western lake. The only thing different is there's no blueback herring out west. All right, a little better. A little better. A long spotted bass.
And now to Greg Bohannon, making a little adjustment, actually going to the flipping bite a little bit earlier today.
Yeah, I'm not going to question Bohannon right now. He's got a lot of momentum coming out of the last tournament. He fourth place. He's feeling good. He's fishing good. He's making a lot of good decisions. If he wants to flip-flop and try and get some big ones right out of the gate instead of trying to finish in the limit first, I'm not going to argue with that.
I found them the last 2 days. They're sitting in these drains about 6 or 7 feet deep. You know, I've been flipping all this stuff, and then you get back here to the back, and you'll finally, if you hit 3 or 4 of them, you'll finally have one that'll have a school in it. And a lot of them are small, but then, you know, yesterday I had 3 3-pounders out of a spot like this.
Bohannon's having a pretty solid year, 28th in the points right now, and coming off of a really good finish at Cumberland, 4th place there.
2?
You got a good check at Lanier. Working on another top 10 now.
Hook wasn't being out very good. They're small, but we get things going here.
Now over to Pennzoil Marine Pro Matt Airy, also out of North Carolina, looking to have a better second half of the season right now.
It's ironic, Williams is from the Carolinas. You would think that Matt Airy would also be on the shad spawn thing, but he's not. He's actually waiting more like on the midday. He wants shadows. He wants a lot of condensed shadows on the docks and walkways, and that's really been a key to his pattern.
One got it.
All the same thing, those little nail-weighted stick baits.
Not a big one, but he'll help.
This could be a good sign for Airy as well that, you know, the second half of the day could be his moment to try to make up some ground on Williams.
Yeah, 2-pounder. Gets rid of that baby.
And Rob, it looks like shade lines equal tight lines on Smith Lake today. Stay tuned for more FLW Tour action presented by TH Marine when we return.
Good.
All right. Oh,
That'll work.
that's a good one. That's a good one. That's a color. Had a color a little bit.
Welcome back to more Day 3 coverage here on Lewis Smtih Lake. Anglers on Smith Lake are spread out pretty evenly, but the guy who's been running a lot is Matt Airy, and the Pennzoil Marine Pro is making a move up the leaderboard.
Yep. That's a 2.5, so we'll call a 2 1/4 with him. Day's going good. I mean, I have no complaints. It's rare, but everything's actually kind of worked in our favor today. You know, I think we're 1 or 2 really big bites away from making this thing really interesting. We're just gonna catch as much as we can. We're gonna stay on this dock deal because, you know, the way the sun and all has been today, I mean, there's not a cloud in the sky, you can see that. And these docks, I'm just running any dock that looks good.
Interesting thing about Airy, you know, he's from the Carolinas. So you would think he would be doing the David Williams or the shad spawn thing, but Airy's success rate out on highland impoundments in the spring is really his wheelhouse. You look at, he's had multiple top 10s at Grand and Acosta's out there. He's won 2 times at Beaver Lake. He's had some good finishes here on Smith. It's odd he comes from the Carolinas and yet does so good on these natural highland impoundments.
There's one. God, he feels good, but you just don't know. Yeah, that's a good one, I think. Yeah, it's a nice one. That helps. That helps, I believe. Well, I think he'll help.
Jordan Osborne, unofficially, he's got about a 13-pound limit. Still about 7 pounds away from David Williams, but this is not the last day of competition.
I feel good. I've got an above average bag, so I don't think I'm not gonna lose any ground. I don't know that I've gained any. To win this tournament, you know, for a guy like me that's, you know, this is my 3rd year and I've had my struggles. I've seemed to turn the corner this year. And to go from struggling as bad as I have to just cashing a few checks this year was a huge leap. To go all the way to winning one, it would be awesome. I mean, I'd be tickled to death. Oh, look at that fish right there. Anytime you get on the water with 180 anglers, that's tough. I don't care what skill level they are. And when you've got 180 FLW Tour anglers,
Get over here.
it's super tough. To be in position to fish the weekend and possibly day 4, that's a big accomplishment. It actually looks to me like he was trying to make a bet on this stump in the lip.
Smith Lake is, you know, it's got largemouth and spotted bass. And what's awesome about it is you can catch them on points, you can catch them in pockets, you can catch them on docks, you can catch them off beds. I mean, there's just, you can flip. I mean, there's just a million things you can do on this lake. So it really spreads everybody out, and it allows you just to pick what pattern you want to run and just run the lake. And that's why I like it.
And a great fish right there from former Forest Wood Cup champion John Cox. Rob, you can never count him out.
No, especially in the springtime when the fish are up around the banks like this. I mean, he made a top 10 the last time the FLW Tour visited Smith Lake, and it looks like he's going to make another top 10.
Williams not only trying to fish for the win here at Smith, but also looking really good in the points race for AOI right now.
Yeah, this should put him up there near the top after this week.
Yeah, good finish here. He's slowly been creeping up and trying to get that coveted spot for the Pennzoil Marine Angler of the Year.
There's one, big one. That's a big old spot right there. Hope I got enough to stay in the lead. Wow. Man, ha-ha.
I think the question is David Williams going to extend his lead at the end of 3 days? The time to find out is now, and the man who will let us know is Chris Jones.
He's got a 5 bass limit today, 12 pounds, 14 ounces, 15 pounds, 5 ounces, 15 pounds, 12 ounces. Matt Airy, 13 pounds, 13 ounces.
I noticed something this afternoon starting to develop a little bit. Hopefully tomorrow, John Cox weighed in a big bag, so everybody kind of knows what that means. So there's some things going on out there. It could make it exciting for tomorrow.
For the Longview, Texas pro, Jordan Osborne, 15 pounds, 2 ounces. Osborne gets it done.
I actually kind of practiced first day of the tournament, stumbled upon something that pretty sweet little spot. I just sit there all day and make the same cast over and over again and just catch them.
On day 1, weighed in the heaviest stringer of the event, 18 pounds and 11 ounces. David Williams, 16 pounds, 12 ounces, your new leader. Wow!
I'd like to be able to keep it out for 2 more events, make the cup, and push on 3 up in rows a little bit for Angler of the Year. It's a big mountain to climb to get with them guys, but right now I'm still there, so hopefully I can make it.
On a lake like Smith, 15 pounds means a lot, and that's why Jimmy Reese is our Evinrude big mover, as he topped that mark and jumped 17 places to make it into the final day. Rob, here's where you want to be. You want to make the top 10 so you can fish the 4th and final day tomorrow and a shot at that $125,000 payday.
David Williams, that's a heck of a lead to overcome on this kind of lake here, especially with spotted bass. These other guys they'll have to just end up kind of swinging for fences to try and catch it and gain any ground on it.
It's the final day here on Lewis Smtih Lake for the 5th stop of the 2018 FLW Tour, presented by TH Marine. Rob, we've got some changing conditions today. Water levels are falling, but the temperatures keep raising. Is that going to affect any of the anglers today?
We talk all the time on this show about windows opening. People ask, what do you mean by a window opening? On a lake that's so dynamic like Smith, it goes up and down. We've had a lot of rain, it came up, it's going down, now the water's falling. That is going to create a situation that these guys can take advantage of. It's the opening of a new bite window, and if anybody's going to be able to track down David Williams today, they're going to have to get on something new. They can't keep doing the same stuff they're doing. It's not working. In order to gain ground on David Williams, they're going to have to find a new window opening up. That falling water is going to cause that.
Couldn't be in a better situation. Got a pretty good lead, and hopefully I can go out there and catch them just like I have the last couple of days and put this thing away.
The rest of the field of 9 are going to be trying to take advantage of that window, but there's no doubt about it, Rob, David Williams is going to be going straight back to his water that has produced for the last 3 days. Is this falling water going to have any effect on that?
No, I don't see the falling water affecting Williams' pattern at all. He's out there under floating docks. He's not up against the bank. The water might clear up just a little bit on him, but he can alter that with some adjustments to his lures.
We need 20. I mean, we got to catch a giant bag today, so gonna fish hard. Hopefully we get a few of those 5 or 6 pounders.
Will some of these anglers be able to figure out a new bite and make up ground? Or is David Williams going to be able to lean on that spot for one more day? We're about to find out because day 4 starts now.
So I'm back here at my primary area where I've caught them all 3 days. First thing I've noticed, the water's fallen another 6 or 7 inches, it looks like, maybe a little more. That concerns me a little bit. You know, I don't know. Well, there they go feeding right there.
Jordan Osborne going straight back to the spot that has worked out for him the last 3 days. He has really found a unique little area here.
Yeah, as we refer to it now, it's called the magic spot, and he's just dancing with who brung him. I mean, this is the spot that's got him this far along in the tournament. It's a little spot. It's amazing that this little place has given up so much fish in the last 3 days. He really has nothing else to go to, so you got to start here.
Yeah, this spot has, you know, it's got me here to Sunday, so hopefully it'll be kind to me one more day, and if it can give me a good solid limit this morning, it'll give me the opportunity to go do some running and gunning and hopefully have a shot at chasing down David.
He said that water's dropping, and he can see now. Last 3 days, he didn't really be able, he just knows it's a good spot, and now he can see what's there. And it's basically just a line of bushes, a real defined line of bushes with some hard bottom right out there in front.
See, that's kind of a surprise to me. First fish, a little largemouth, nothing special, but it's as the week has gone on, it's like the spots, they're still here. I think these largemouth are coming out of this flooded timberline as this water's falling, and they're coming out here to the edge with the spots. So hopefully we can catch a couple big bucket mouth today.
One of those guys that's making a big shift in strategy today is Matt Airy. Yesterday, early on, he was targeting those spotted bass, was really locked into that pattern, but later in the day, he saw some things up shallow with the largemouth that kind of tipped him off to a new little pattern.
Yeah, it's one thing to go down the bank, you know, kind of looking for fish if you want to try and sight fish, if you're looking for fry garters. But kind of a neat thing to do that looks like Airy's picked up on is throwing a search bait. He's throwing a swim bait out there. It's like an extra pair of eyes. You're looking around, but you can't quite see in those dark shadows or next to that rock. If you have something that makes those fish kind of come up and show themselves, then you can do something with them.
God, that was an awesome bite. I don't know if you saw that, but it was hanging in the bush. God, that thing's a rail, dude. That sucker needs to eat.
Rob, no surprise here. Williams making the run all the way back into Rock Creek.
Every morning it gets light earlier and earlier and earlier. And that shad spawn is something that happens at night in the dark. And the key is to catch the first, you know, hour or so of it in the morning. And it looks like Williams, you know, has caught some this morning, but it's been a little slower than that beat down he put on him yesterday.
I've had probably 8 or 10 bites already this morning. It's just, they won't eat it.
Biggest thing for me was it's a lot colder this morning, and you don't know if the bait's going to come up at night if it gets too cold, you know. So you want a warm night for those shad to really spawn.
The shad, there's no doubt they're spawning at night. And the fish set up under those docks to take advantage of that ambush situation.
A little bit better.
Not a lot separating the majority of the field. David Williams is the only one with some real separation on top, but if anyone has a big bag and David Williams leaves the door open a little bit, there is some room for these guys coming back. So don't go anywhere. Lots more coverage here on Lewis Smtih Lake for the final day.
A little bit better. There we go. Oh, first decent one.
We might have made the right call.
Welcome back to Smtih Lake and our final day coverage. Rob, one of these guys could be holding a $125,000 paycheck at the end of today. And making a surge already this morning is John Cox. He figured something out later in the day yesterday, and picked right back up into it this morning.
During practice, this was pure mud. You know, you couldn't even see down an inch. So I knew no one was going to fish it during the tournament. And I just thought, man, if there's some way I can make it to the last day, this would be where I would go. And here we are on the last day.
If there's one guy that loves to go shallow, it's John. And if there's a place to go swing for the fences, it's going up shallow to that flooded timber.
Yeah, this falling water will play right into John's hands today, just mainly because so much of this back of this creek he's been fishing is flooded, and there's been too much water back here. But on the final day, it's finally starting to fall, the water's starting to drop, and that's pulling all those fish kind of out of the woods to the most obvious targets. It
seems like every time we get around somewhere where you got that hard line on the bank, you know, the fish are pushing to it, and they all look like pre-spawners. They're real fat. So I'm excited. I think we might really catch them today.
He told us this morning the water's dropped like 2 or 3 feet in this area here that he's in.
If there's a guy that can thrive in the shallow fisheries, it's this guy. Those bass are moving shallow. He has found them.
Number 4. You notice these fish are so much fatter up here. Look how fat they are. Oh, if we can get a couple big ones, we'll have some weight today.
And now we are on David Williams. You guys are gonna watch a guy put a clinic on skipping lures here.
Now the one thing that doesn't change with Williams, that I can just go ahead and tell you, everything is white. Totally, the swim jigs, the buzz baits, one color, white.
You know, skipping a jig is something that a lot of guys know how to do, like in our area around Lake Norman, Lake Wiley area, because all you do is fish docks pretty much about, 50% of the year at least. If you don't know how to fish them, you're not going to catch many fish on a lake where they really live around them.
Every fish he catches right now is one step closer to up to $125,000 payday at the end of the day.
Once again, mixed species under those docks, you know. You would think that the way he's fishing would be maybe more of a largemouth kind of thing, but when it comes to eating shad, everybody piles into the buffet.
It's a good one.
Making the final day cut in the 4th spot is Cody Meyer. Rob, if there's one guy who could be called an expert on Alabama spotted bass, it's Cody. At one time, he actually held the world record for the biggest spotted bass ever caught, over 10 pounds.
Yeah, this is basically as close as Cody gets to fishing his home lake. He's real familiar with these spotted bass here. He's real comfortable with them. He's been making a living on these bridges here, the shade of these bridges and over the lake. Man, but is he fishing deep? I mean, over 100 feet. That takes some pretty good patience to do that.
At some point you start measuring those in fathoms, right?
So we're finally back on a bridge. You know, I've been trying different stuff, but this to me seems like it's the most consistent thing for me to get a bite. So kind of have to stick with what got me here. I know there's big ones here too. So it's a confidence thing for me. You know, it's been a slow bite, but I'll embrace the grind. I think the wind is making them bite a little better now. That being said, we're not catching big ones, but at least they're starting to bite.
Such a different way to fish right there than what we've seen out of the boys up in the creeks. After watching Airy move down the bank and John Cox get back in the woods and David Williams skipping up all the docks, to throwing your 6-pound test out there, letting it sink to 30 or 40 feet over 70.
Woo. Look at that. Thing is over 200 feet of water right there.
The guy to beat, it's really his tournament to lose it to some degree. David Williams, he hasn't had to move too much in this tournament.
Staying put. Didn't you see the roadmap?
I'm really happy he read your roadmap to victory here this morning so he could pull the victory out.
I think that's exactly what happened. He wondered what he was going to do today. That's Newell's right.
I just hope he thanks you, remembers to thank you on stage today.
I get some credit for that.
Boom! Sure! All game. I got rid of like 1.5 pounds with that one, and it was probably close to a 3. And when I caught that one, I knew I was pushing like probably 14 pounds. Ha! Yes.
Okay, spoiler alert.
All game.
You won't find anybody rooting against David Williams. He's really a good dude. Whenever you see a guy like this closing in and on a win, it makes you appreciate the sport. You can see a guy like this get his due.
Williams, big surprise, still on top.
They've tried to chase him down, but no bueno.
This final day has had a little something for everyone. Don't go anywhere, guys. We got plenty more fishing in the Smith Lake final day.
The FLW Tour is brought to you by Lowrance HDS Carbon. Find, navigate, dominate with Lowrance. Real Tree Fishing, the official pattern of FLW. Bass Pro Shops, your adventure starts here. Ranger Boats, still building legends one at a time. Polaris, the world leader in off-road vehicles. And by Mercury Marine, go boldly.
I think my magic spot has lost its magic.
Little Cole, that could mean the difference between second place, third place, fifth place, I don't know, but I know that fish cold at least a pound. You know, we're kind of running out of time.
That's a better one. First frog bite I've had all week.
I feel like, you know, when I'm throwing, I feel like any second I'm gonna catch a giant.
To be my first year on this FLW Tour and have the opportunity to win one is pretty special.
As Chris Jones likes to say, it is payday here on Lewis Smtih Lake. Only 10 anglers are left, and one of them is going to be holding up a big paycheck here in a little bit. And it's looking a lot like David Williams.
The king of the week, king of Smith Lake, King Williams. And he could be really dangerous here in the next few tournaments. We're headed to Kentucky Lake next. Fish might be up, same kind of thing.
But a guy that's doing everything he can right here is Matt Airy.
Being able to right the Forest Wood Cup ship here in the last few tournaments.
Man, I had a really rocky bad start at Okeechobee, which Okeechobee has always been a thorn in my side. Very rarely have I done well down there. And I mean, you can survive like a 100th place finish, but I had a 151st place finish. The worst finish I've had since my rookie year. And I hope this gets me up close to the cup cut. You know, with 2 tournaments to go. Thank goodness for 7 tournaments too, right? Pretty nice fish right there. It was over 2. I was too close to him when he came out on it. For sure, too close. Oh, he got it. That was quick.
Nice work by Airy.
Yep, that's a nice one.
Putting on the Fetch Wacky Rig Clinic.
Oh, the 1-2.
Yep, the old 1-2.
Yeah, that's a nice one. Yeah, all right. I thought it was a nice spot. It was a nice spot. Yeah, that'll help. Look at that, the hook just fell out. A couple 6-pounders away, right?
There's the troll under the bridge.
The troll.
Cody Meyer, his pet fish that live under that bridge. He takes good care of them. Gives them a little ride to the weigh-in.
He knows no one else is catching his fish that are suspended over 100 feet of water.
They are not going to get pressured from anybody else.
They're in between these bridges now. They're suspending around, kind of, you can't really target them. I'm seeing a few. You're casting around a swim bait. It's a little Strike King Rage Swimmer. Kind of hoping you swim it in front of one. The main thing with the bridge is the fish will set up either in the shade or with current. Like with the water falling right now, you want to get on the back and they're going to sit behind the bridge. So it's going to act as a current seam and they're going to sit behind, and then when you bring your bait by, they're going to come out and bite the bait and they're going to eat that way. Yes! Yeah, baby. That's a 3-pounder. Woo! That's what we needed right there. Yeah. Almost 3.5.
And now over to former Forest Wood Cup champion John Cox. Going shallow this morning, giggling, full of laughter, and so far he's got the biggest limit of the day.
He said there was actually too much water in that place earlier in the week, and that just shows you how a place can change.
I think there's big fish in the lower end of the lake. It's just there's not enough places like this to kind of group them up, you know what I mean? Like there's a lot more that are probably gonna live on those rocks and off the bank, which I have no idea how to catch them, but You know, they're there. I just think they're a lot harder to catch. I have this area that I really enjoy fishing. I caught fish in the past. It was muddy all through the tournament, so I was like, oh, let me go up there and see if it cleared up. And I got up there and it was clear, and it was just, it was awesome, you know.
Oh, great fish right there. This is definitely starting to work out for John Cox right now, Rob.
I'm starting to think where he's fishing in Ryan, in the Ryan Creek arm there, is kind of behind the spawn compared to where Williams is fishing, and therefore these fish are still, looks like still on deck.
More day 4 action on Smith Lake, brought to you by TH Marine when we return.
Yes! Yep, that's a nice one. That'll help.
Gonna save the lake today, boys.
I knew I needed a big bag, and I didn't want to revisit a lot of the spot water, so to speak, that I've been fishing a lot this week, because I felt like my max was going to be 13, 14 pounds if I had a phenomenal day. Yeah, that might have maintained a second or third place finish, but you know, you can make it the final day, you want to win. That's a big one. That helps. That helps. I'm coming, sweetie. I see that fish should weigh 4 pounds, and it's barely a 3, I bet. The problem with the largemouths right now here is they don't weigh anything. You know, they're 18, 19 inches long, they don't even weigh 3 pounds. That's a good one. I mean, that fish is 20 inches long, we probably don't weigh 3 1/4. That's a good call. Oh man, I wish I had about 3 more hours to fish. Three 1/4.
We've seen a lot go on, a lot of different techniques and everything, but let's talk about our Mercury moment. He had a decent limit right here.
Yeah, went back to refit, made a bait change, spinner bait.
I think it's said best by David Williams right here.
Boom! Sure! All game.
And he's right, he should have yelled out Mercury moment, because that was the moment of the day. If someone were to beat him after that, it's just like, hey, it was not his day. But
yes.
Couldn't happen to a nicer guy right now. Really looking forward to seeing this weigh-in. But that was a huge catch at the right moment today.
All right, what's going on, Jasper, Alabama? We got the cream of the crop over there on the weigh-in line.
Our first angler to the stage, Clint Davis.
A 5-bass limit, 10 pounds, 13 ounces, having some fun. Wow! Matt Becker, number 5, Jimmy Reese catches the kicker. A 5-bass limit. Man, that's great stuff. Got it, there you go, new leader.
We got kids walking around getting autographs. I mean, it's cool, man, it's a cool place.
A former Forest Wood Cup champion. You need just 10 pounds, 12 ounces. A 5-bass limit for the former Forest Wood Cup champion, John Cox. 16 pounds even, you got the lead.
I weaved in there between a bunch of the trees and got on this bank, I think where they were starting to spawn or already spawned or whatever they were doing, and they were just eating.
Cody Meyer.
My question is, why do I have to weigh in after John Cox with that big bag?
That's wrong, isn't it?
We're going to call him the Dream Crusher now.
To take the lead from John Cox, you need 16 pounds even.
You make it when you say 16 pounds even like it's so easy.
How easy was it today? A 5-bass limit for Cody Meyer, 15 pounds and 6 ounces. A 3-time FLW Tour champion, 5 good ones today. A solid 5-bass limit. Matt Airy, 13 pounds, 7 ounces. A 5-bass limit today for Jordan Osborne, 10 pounds, 8 ounces, so you fall just 2 places to 4th. Let me tell you something, David, this is not going to be an easy win, because standing in your way, former Forest Wood Cup champion, John Cox. A 5-bass limit! Wow! Here we go. A 5 bass limit for David Williams, worth 13 pounds, 13 ounces. Your champion is David Williams, getting it done on Championship Sunday. Wow! You didn't expect the family to come in.
I had told my cameraman I hope they show up, but I really didn't know. It's pretty good drive down here, so I'm really glad they showed up. But just like to thank everybody for all your support, all your well wishes this week, your text message, calls, and everything.
A $100,000 payday for the Dayton, North Carolina pro, David Williams.